Well, the conference season is here, and off to Boise we go. I feel pretty good about where the team's at. Obviously, there's always work to be done. And they call us coach, but they could easily call us teacher. There's a lot to be taught, and we continue to teach every day. And the team is responding. I said in the last game, even though our numbers weren't great in the first half offensively against Northridge, the kids played the right way. They really moved the ball the way I wanted them to. They missed some open looks, and as a coach, part of your job is to keep your team from getting frustrated, you know, and I thought they did a good job of overcoming frustration, whatever they might have had into the second half of that game when they found themselves 19 down, to stick with it, to continue to play the game the right way, to fight their way out of a monumental deficit. I mean, 19 down in the second half with 15 to go is a big deficit to come back from. But you see it in college basketball with the three-point shot and the shot clock and the way the game's played, you can come back from deficits. And I'm just so proud of the team for the way they fought their way back and came out with a victory. Obviously, it's not going to be as easy on the road. Our home crowd was critically important to our comeback. Now we have to go on a tough road environment and see if we can fight our way into a victory at Boise tomorrow night.
Nathan Mensah mentioned earlier that this is trying to explain the seasons like chapters in a book. And, you know, after you've seen some of these chapters yourself, you've been down 31 to Brown, you were down 19 the other day and then came back and won, played incredibly well against BYU. What's your sense of the book so far, I guess?
That it's incomplete. You know, we're writing a chapter every day. And I plan a practice, and, you know, you only can be on the floor so long. And there's a huge list of what you have to get better at. But you can't be out there 4 hours a day. So you have to pick and choose where you're going to concentrate. And obviously we continue to concentrate on rebounding, you know, boxing out, trying to not give teams second chance opportunities. Offensively, it's always about sharing the ball. No matter what play we call, if you get two guys on you, you have to find that open man. And to be an elite team, you have to find ways to pull two guys onto you. But when you do, move the ball in a timely manner. That always takes time. Defensively, it's trying to learn from your past experiences. You know, because as much as we work on the floor, there's no greater teacher than experience. And so when this happens next time, be ready for it. Because every team plays different. And so there's always something new they have to deal with. If every team played the same way, then you'd say, okay, here we're doing it again, now we're doing it again, we're doing it again. But all of a sudden you might play a team that runs a spread offense and with no low post. And then the next game you might play a team with two low posts and trying to beat you up physically. And then you'll go back to a team that, you know, really runs the baseline hard with a great shooter. And so you're teaching a new lesson every week depending on who you're playing. And so you pick and choose that one or two things you concentrate on and try to get better at that. And the thing with a veteran team, you know, they've played 2 or 3 or 4 years and they've seen it all. So they go, oh, yeah, this is what New Mexico ran last year. Or a year ago, yeah, this is what we saw from Boise. They're running the same stuff. We'll be ready for it. But when you introduce 4 or 5 new freshmen to something new all the time, then it's a bit of a challenge to try to say they've seen it before, because they haven't.
What's your take on a couple of things that have been program staples, one in a good way and one kind of not in a great way, but defensively, you know, San Diego State is synonymous with defense, and some of those numbers have slipped this season. But three-point shooting, an area where the program has struggled in the past, you guys shoot it really well from outside the arc. But those two things flipping this season, what's your take on that?
You know, I hope the three-point shooting continues where it's at. I mean, we're shooting the ball at a really good pace right now. And to beat Northridge, we had to make threes. Jeremy hit one, Seiko hit one, Devin Watson hit one, so they were from different players at critical times. Defensively, I think we'll get better because we're working on it so hard. And I think it's a lot of experience, Bryce. You know, it's trying to get these guys up to a more consistent level every day they step on the floor. And they're working hard at practice on it, but then it's translating it to the game, you know. And it's like offense. If one guy's not playing the right way, in basketball, it's like you have 5 quarterbacks because everybody has the ball in their hands. It's not like in football where the quarterback has it and he's making all sorts of critical decisions as to where it goes, timing. In basketball, we throw it to Nathan Mensah at the foul line. Now he's the quarterback. He has to make the correct play, the right read. And so offense, I have 5 quarterbacks. On defense, and if one makes a mistake, it affects the whole rhythm of the team. On defense, it's the same way. If one guy isn't up to speed with what we're doing, then 4 guys are constantly covering for one guy's mistakes. And so the critical nature of this is that everybody has to be a hand, 5 fingers on a hand. They all have to function to make it work. And so we continue to try to get all the new guys up to speed where we're not trying to cover up for some deficiencies they may have just from a knowledge standpoint in doing it a lot.
Is this team even keel, or are they as high and low as they appear to be?
No, they come to work every day. They're not emotionally high or low, and I think you see that on the floor. I don't think you see a lot of negative emotion when things aren't going well. What you see is Jeremy and Devin getting on them, and that's what seniors are supposed to do. And what you learn as a senior is you have to get on them the right way. You can't yell and scream at them, but you can challenge them. You can say we're better than this. This is not what we are. This is who we are. Our identity has always been defense. You have to hold your end. You have to be more accountable. And the seniors are preaching the coach's message. And so when we're all preaching the same message, then you would hope to see that improvement continue throughout the year.
I get the analogy about 5 quarterbacks, but a lot of times at the very end of games, you want one quarterback who does want the ball in their hands. Do you feel like you have a starting quarterback? Yeah,
well, I think obviously I want it in my seniors' hands at the end of the game. Devin is by far our leading assist guy. He's 2 or 3 to 1 assist to turnovers, and so you want to put it in the guy's hands that's capable of not only scoring, which Devin is, but finding the open man when he draws 2. And last year that was Trey. If I ran 100 ball screen plays for Trey, he probably passed it on 70 of them. So you try to put it in the guy's hands that can score, but when he draws that second defender, he gets someone a wide open shot. And I think Devin and Jeremy, as seniors, are most capable of putting us in that position.
With this being a new year and entering into conference play, are we going to see a new team, or do they treat conference play any differently than any other games?
Obviously conferences, you're familiar with your opponent. You're going against guys that, if you're a senior, you've played against for 4 years, so you know each other's games better. You know your opponent well. A lot of times the systems don't change a lot. Boise's always been a great 4-out team, 1 in, ball screen, spread the floor, drive you, play the right way, kick the ball. They're very good defensively. And so our veterans know that have played against Boise. So the task is for them to say, here's what's going to happen at Boise. You guys have to understand this. This is what they're trying to do. This is what we have to take away. So conference is always good because you're more familiar with your opponent. You're more individually and collectively when the coaching staffs are there for so long.
You also talked about at the beginning that you see your players get frustrated. You try to help that. Do you see a lot more frustration this year than any other years that you've been here?
No, I think they've done a good job managing their frustration. I don't think you see it a lot. Once in a while, as a coach, you see it's not like anything more than maybe a kid will drop his head if something doesn't go right. And so it's that dropping of the head. Hey, we believe in you. It's we have a next play mentality. There's never been a perfect game been played. And so the key is when you make a mistake, don't linger on that mistake during the game, because what will happen then, you'll make another one because you're still worried about the one you just made. And we've always said what we're doing in practice, we're teachers, and that's the classroom. So we're giving them all the answers in practice. Then when they get to the game, it's the test. So I can't give you the answers once the test is being taken. I can't pull you aside and say, here's what the answer is now, because then you're never into the game, and you have to be into the rhythm of the game. And there's plenty of time to teach after the game, and there's times to make adjustments during the game, but I can't give them the answers at that time. So they have to go out there and just play, and if they make a mistake, don't worry about it at that time. Just go on and make the next play.